Once upon a time, there were 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl, who loved to explore the woods behind their house. They had heard stories about a cursed object that was hidden deep in the woods, but they never believed it was true. One day they decided to go on an adventure to find the cursed object. As they walked deeper into the woods, they started to feel uneasy. The trees seemed to be closing in on them and the air grew colder. Suddenly they stumbled upon an old rusty chest. It was covered in cobwebs and looked like it hadn't been opened in years. The kids were hesitant to open it, but their curiosity got the best of them. As they opened the chest, they found a strange-looking doll. It had a sinister grin on its face, and its eyes seemed to follow them wherever they went. The kids were immediately creeped out by the doll, but they couldn't look away. As they continued their adventure, strange things started to happen. They heard whispers in the wind, and the trees seemed to be moving on their own. The doll seemed to be getting closer and closer to them, and they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. One night, the kids decided to have a sleepover in the woods. They built a campfire and told scary stories to each other. As they were about to go to sleep, they heard a rustling in the bushes. They thought it was just an animal, but then they saw the doll. It was moving on its own, and its eyes were glowing in the dark. The kids were terrified and tried to run away, but the doll seemed to be following them. They ran as fast as they could, but the doll was always 1 step ahead of them. Finally, they stumbled upon an old abandoned house. They thought they were safe, but they were wrong. As they entered the house, they heard a creaking sound. They turned around and saw the doll standing in the doorway. It was blocking their only exit. The kids were trapped, and they knew they had to face their fears. Suddenly, the doll started to move towards them. Its eyes were glowing brighter and brighter, and its grin was getting wider and wider. The kids closed their eyes and braced themselves for the worst. When they opened their eyes, the doll was gone. They looked around the room, but it was empty. They were relieved, but also confused. They didn't know what had happened, but they knew they had to get out of there. As they left the house, they saw the doll one last time. It was sitting on a tree branch, watching them as they walked away. The kids never went back to the woods again, but they knew that the cursed object was still out there, waiting for its next victim.